Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. Today we are releasing a much anticipated and much requested follow-up to our ripe PuErh cake Gem Juice Outlaw, which we released a couple of years ago. This is the sequel. This is Bling Rock Kingpin. Check it out. Check out the cover by Celine. The cat lying on his or her back with a proper thick gold chain and bling, 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 a proper bling rock hanging round the neck. This is Bling Rock Kingpin. As I said, the follow-up to Gem Juice Outlaw. So Gem Juice Outlaw we released a couple of years ago, and it's a ripe PuErh tea. It was a ripe PuErh tea, which was made out of the Zi Juan variety, which is a purple variety, so purple sprouting variety, and we got so much love for it, and people were saying that it was their favorite ripe PuErh, and we needed to get another one in. We agree. It's something very unique about these purple teas being made into ripe PuErh, so we have found the material. This is 2014 Zi Juan ripe PuErh. Let's quickly scope the tea. So as I said, it's 2014, spring 2014 is the season. The cultivar, this is the Zi Juan variety, which is a relatively new, modern variety, which naturally sprouts purple tinged leaves, different from the old sort of wild Yusheng purple tea trees that are growing in other parts of Yunnan, and different from the purple tea which is being cultivated in Africa. So this is the Zi Juan variety, a very unique variety that I think suits ripe PuErh especially well. So it's being used to make black teas, it's being used to make other types of teas, but I think ripe PuErh is where it really finds its home. The origin on this is Bulang area, one of the most classic areas for ripe PuErh tea. So Bulang area in Yunnan in China. Picking and processing, this is Gongting Zi Juan, which means that it's, you know, very, very fine picking. You're going to see hopefully a fair amount of bud material here, although it's going to be harder to pick up because of that purple tinge on the leaves, and the elevation's around 1,200 meters. Love the cover by Celine. This like proper gangster style cat with that bling, oversized gold chain, oversized rock. This is Bling Rock Kingpin. With the previous one we had the magpie who was stealing the sort of jewels, so we have a sort of a theme with these Zi Juan purple ripe PuErh teas, something a little bit criminal or mob-like around these characters. Okay, so Gem Juice Outlaw was a 100-gram cake, but we have made this into a 200-grammer because, as I said, we got so much love for it. The Gem Juice Outlaw was a little bit of an experimentation, but since you love the cake, we're going to go for a 200-grammer, and you can see here this very unique color on these leaves, right? You can see it has a sort of slight purplish tinge to it. Let me put it on the tray here, so slight purpley tinge to it, and you can see a lot of these bud material here, which is just showing itself with this slightly lighter orange color. This is going to be compressed a bit harder than maybe some other ripe PuErhs, because it's a smaller leaf. It's going to be compressed it's going to compress naturally harder, but pretty easy to take apart. That should be enough for my session. Let me just quickly put this away. Right. Let's see how easy it is to break up. Should be pretty easy with a small leaf. Yeah, just have to sort of crumble it. Take your time when you're doing it. We're going to heat the kettle up to near boiling point. I'm very, very excited by this cake because when we tasted the loose tea, first of all, it was great that we managed to find another slightly aged, so 2014, so 6 years. I'm speaking to you from 2020. So, you know, 6 years, Zi Juan, loose, there was Gongting, not easy to come by. Managed to find it. I'm going to brew today in Nixing, just because I would like to. I know whenever I do these tastings, I always taste in porcelain, and that's the right thing to do because you can really sort of get a neutral taste on it. But you know, sometimes I want these sessions to have a little bit more of a different aesthetic, and certainly the clay pots give me that. And with Nixing, yes, it's going to have an effect, of course, but I should be able to still tease out a pretty accurate profile. This is the first time me tasting this tea since it arrived. It's been in our storage for about 3 weeks now. So I'm just doing this by eye, but you know, a fair amount goes in. It is small leaf, so you don't want it to go too high up because that's going to be too much. All right, let's get our nose into Bling Rock Kingpin. Oh, different from Gem Juice. So Gem Juice was very the bright acidity with sort of black currants, which is why the magpie was stealing this black currant, this sort of necklace that looked like it was made with black currant jewels. This one is still got brightness, but it's richer. It's even more fruity. Oh, what fruit is that? It's still in the blackberries sort of note, but maybe yeah, it's like blackberries rather than black currant. It's a bit sweeter. Cherries, blackberries. Yeah, very much berry fruit. Very strong, stronger than Gem Juice in terms of its fruitiness. And then there's a malted biscuit warmth underneath it. Yeah, malted milk biscuits with that blueberry, blackberry sweetness. Ooh, a little bit of date as well. So sweet fruits, still bright. And then you combine that, yeah, that's enough leaf. And then you combine that with this warm malted milk note that is more like reminiscent of Milk Float Nomad or those non-Zi Juan teas. Look at that slightly, even though it's just the rinse and it's diluted, you can already tell it's got a slight pink hue to it. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, we're gonna use this little elephant here as our tea pet. Little elephant we picked up in Thailand. It's always great to just pick up other animals that are not designed as tea pets. If they're the right size, then they work. So we picked that up in Thailand on our visits. Right. Oh, smell of the wet leaf. This is going to be a joy. Oh, that is like you've taken a medley of berries, like, yeah, blackberries, blueberries, cherries, very, very rich, fruity berry note, and you've sort of cooked them down gently, lightly, and you've made this sort of compote of berries, and then you're mixing that into like a vanilla pudding. Oh, that is such a lovely smell. It's more, it's deeper, it's richer, it's warmer and sweeter than Gem Juice Outlaw, but it still has that very fruit forward note about it. Ooh. Special, special smell. It was a good day when we found that Zi Juan. I remember it very well, because we've been looking for Gem Juice Outlaw since pretty much we released Gem Juice Outlaw, and we were, you know, we recognized that people were enjoying it. We started to look for this Zi Juan ripe A lot of them that we tasted just were tasting too thin, and that's one of the sort of criticisms of Zi Juan tea. It can have a bit of a thin sort of note to it in terms of its aromatics and texture, but when we found this Gongting 2014, we were very, very happy, and it has not disappointed. Now it's pressed into a cake. Okay, let's check out this color. So the ripe PuErh heads out there will note probably a couple of things about the color of this liquor. The first is that it's lighter than, you know, your kind of classic ripe PuErh a little bit, but also I hope that you can see it's got more of a purple tinge, and this is where I always sort of fail, because I can see it all with the light going through the liquor, maybe less so with you, but it's got like this pinkish tinge to it, which is so characteristic of Zi Juan teas. Right, here we go. Good texture going on the surface of the tea. Texture in the mouth, as I would expect, is medium. So you're not going to get a very thick tea, but that's really the character of Zi Juan. It's about refreshment, and there's bags of refreshment in this tea. Grenadine, cassis, sort of again like berry syrups. A little bit of sweet cherry, a little bit of some spice that's used to make resinous, like incense. I want to say like frankincense, but that's too strong a flavor note. But as if I've sort of eaten some like amber, you know. But very complex, and blood orange aftertaste. So after you swallowed, the mouth it's actually very vaporous, considering its sort of lighter texture. Very vaporous with, yeah, like a blood orange note happening. So at the beginning, sweeter cassis, grenadine, cherries, moving to a little bit more like adult incenses and blood orange. But the character of Gem Juice Outlaw still stays in that it is on the brighter end of the spectrum of ripe PuErhs, less of that sort of undergrowth, less of that milky, creamy, fudgy note that comes from the more classic Daejong variety. The Zi Juan variety is just bright and refreshing, invigorating. Texture on the tongue is dry to blood orange zesty. Wow. Little bit of marzipan, almond sweetness happening as well, which just plays across on it, which was that vanilla cream note that I was picking up in the smell of the wet leaves. And that's just there like an extra layer of comfort in the tea. Smell of the empty cup just on the first infusion are pretty potent. Again, I'm getting that blood orange, but now blood orange with like dark toast. Like toast with like, you know, those sort of German rye breads, sort of dark, slightly acidic, like toasted rye note that is mixing with that orangey aroma. Ooh, the smell coming off the liquor is much creamier. I'm getting more of those vanilla creams. Ooh, second infusion shift. Wow, what's that? Still fruit heavy, but different. Like a taffy, cherry taffy candy, like a Chewits or Starburst. You may know Starburst. That sort of, I think it's taffy, like chewy, slightly milky, textured and taste candies, but blackcurrant or cherry flavor. That's exactly what it is. It's like blackcurrant flavored Starbursts or Chewits. Slightly milky, slightly creamy, but very fruity, and that fruit note is very in your face. I mean, it's you know, it tastes very concentrated. And then again, when you finish, you've got this more sort of adult blood orange zestiness in the mouth. Lovely combination of milky candies moving to that incense and blood orange adult nature. Dry to juicy, cooling, refreshing, a very refreshing ripe PuErh that sets the Zi Juan variety apart, because, you know, it's different. The Daojang varieties, they tend to be either very creamy and malty and caramelly, or they move into that sort of very sort of Chinese medicine, herbaceous, attics, cellars, woodsy, antique wood note, you know, casks and bourbon casks and things like that. This Zi Juan variety is gorgeous because of the fact that it brings something very new to the ripe PuErh table. Fruit forward, refreshing, bright, yet still maintains some of that creaminess. And a little thyme herbaceousness on the finish. So blood orange and fresh thyme, definitely there. Oh yeah. Now you really, you know, when you nail a flavor note, it suddenly becomes more accentuated in the mouth. Thyme and blood orange. Body sensation on this feels very bright, feels very uplifting. Again, very refreshing. This would be a great tea for all kinds of occasions. Great as a digestive to sort of, you know, help you after a heavy meal, but just by itself as a sort of pick me up, wake me up in the morning. I would not normally go to ripe PuErhs earlier in the day. It tends to be more of my late night drink, but I can so see this being something that I would crave earlier during the day. It's bright, refreshing nature. Changing again. A little bit of a slight sort of cinnamon or camphor. Very, very slight, but it's there. Shifts through infusions, definitely. Oh, it's just such an interesting tea. And as I said before, I think it is the ultimate use of this Zi Juan variety. I've tried black teas with Zi Juan, I wasn't enamored by them. And I'd sort of given up on Zi Juan variety until a couple of years ago we found Gem Juice Outlaw. Now I'm pretty much sold on Zi Juan ripes. Yeah, it just shifts and shifts, but all in really interesting territory. Fruits and spices and that little milky taffy undertone. I'm so happy we found this tea. So here you go, Bling Rock Kingpin. Finally, we've got a cat on one of our covers. We released a poll actually saying which animal would you like to see on the cover of a tea, which animal are we missing? We got a lot of requests for cat, but we wanted to find the right tea, and there's something about, so we wanted, as I said, Gem Juice Outlaw was this cheeky magpie who was stealing jewels. This is obviously some sort of mob leader with the big rock and the big oversized chain, and there's nothing cheekier than a cat, especially lying on their back, inviting you to stroke the stomach, even though you know as soon as your hand goes near that fluffy stomach, there's always the chance that they're gonna come at you with the claws. Bling Rock Kingpin, definitely a tea to pick up if you're looking for a unique, fruit-forward ripe pu'er. And I would say that for those of you who have tried ripe pu'ers and don't think that ripe pu'ers are for you, this is definitely one to try because it is very different in terms of its profile, in terms of its character to any other ripened tea, including other heichas like from Hunan or from Guangxi province. Really, really interesting that you can get this sort of light brightness that comes even with a fermented ripened tea. So definitely check it out if you think that ripe pu'er is not for you, or if you want something that is just going to add a very unique character to your ripe pu'er collection. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the good stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.